Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101. Welcome to the start of the live stream. We will begin in just a minute after I check the audio and visual. We'll begin here in just a minute. All right, things are looking good. Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. Today's live stream, I wanted to do things a little bit different. I wanted to run through various altcoins, Bitcoin mining stocks, talk with y'all, do some technical analysis on various crypto related assets to see if there are any good bargains out there. I get a lot of requests for various altcoin analysis, and we have recently had, we still have, extreme fear in the market. So in my opinion, this is the start of the time where we need to be bargain hunting and looking at the charts, various indicators to see where some good discount levels could be for some of our cryptos. Now, to be clear, as far as my strategy goes, I am positioned in various Bitcoin mining stocks as well as a handful of different altcoins. I usually do a dollar cost average strategy, and I would classify my assets that I own, crypto assets, into three different categories. Not just the altcoins and the mining stocks, but the three categories would be lower risk, medium risk, and higher risk. For the lower risk altcoins and mining stocks, that is where I put most of my money. I want my money to be safe. Once I make profits from those specific assets, hit certain levels or meet certain conditions, I withdraw my money. Medium and low risk, I do more of a rotation play. If certain mining stocks hit their certain levels or hit my levels early, then I will rotate into the altcoins, the medium, low, and high risk altcoins, if there is potential for money to be made there. So if you have any requests for altcoins that you would like me to do technical analysis on, even if you're watching in replay, please leave a comment below. I put out probably half a dozen YouTube short videos each week where I give my current technical analysis on various altcoins. And I'll be honest with you, if it's one I like, don't like, know some things about, or don't know things about. On this channel, I'm not trying to tell you whether or not your altcoin is great or not. I'm just giving you some chart analysis to hopefully give you maybe a different perspective. So let's start off with Bitcoin. And 1 second, please. I have my live stream in the background, so I know that everything's working, and my TV decided to run an ad, so we'll get moving here very shortly. Let's start off with Bitcoin. All right, right now, Bitcoin is at the lower end of this ascending channel. We are at this moving average. This is the 50-week moving average. And we are at this horizontal blue line. This is the 1618 macro Fibonacci extension. So if you draw a Fibonacci retracement from the last cycle high in 21 to the low in late 22, you can see that our first major Fib extension, the 1618, is where Bitcoin is holding support right now. That's wonderful. It's also holding support on the weekly at the 50-week moving average, which has been where we've gotten support the last two times, and in the channel here. Now let's go to the daily. This channel, I used to have just a trend line here, but then I said, you know what? Let's just draw a channel and see where things line up. Let's line up those higher highs and see if we would eventually get a pullback to some higher lows. And right now, so far, the channel's kind of holding. Not really sure it's that great of a channel for higher lows, but we can see these wicks are hitting that 1618 as well as the 50-week on the weekly moving average. But the candle bodies are staying above those areas of support, and that's a good thing. We want to keep that going. We want to maintain that support. Now, I want to take a look at this through multiple lenses. Whether or not we stay bottomed out here, like the last two times we've had extreme fear, you can see here, this was the yen carry trade unwind time. This was the tariff scare 1.0. Those have been the last two major times we've had extreme fear. I can just zoom out and show you. You can line up the dates, August 24, and then again, this was around April of 2005. Extreme fear has been the extremely good times to buy in, and those have been your local bottoms. Now, we weren't done bottoming in 1 week and then course corrected after. You can see that here on the weekly is tested twice. Last time around, it was tested 3 times. So for all intents and purposes, we might stay down here through the month of November. And I think a reason for that would be Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, I want to show you the MACD. This is our momentum indicator, and you can see we are flipping positive right now. We're flipping green on the weekly. And so this says Bitcoin dominance, that Bitcoin is going to gobble up that liquidity from other altcoins, and dominance is probably going to rise. And should it continue to get above the 50-week moving average, Bitcoin dominance is bullish once again. Now, last week I said I still believe in alt season, and that is true for today, because overall I like how the momentum, the moving average of the MACD, is trending downwards. We can get a positive swing, a green swing for the MACD, the moving average convergence, divergence. But as long as the momentum stays negative here and keeps pulling in the downward direction, pulling Bitcoin dominance downward would be good for our altcoins. Let me find that chart. I have a couple flow charts here. Once the dominance starts going down, that's going to be good for our altcoins. And this all fits within this framework that we've been using for the last month, really focusing in on our path to alt season, because we've been in Bitcoin year. We still are. Right now we're in phase 2. And once phase 2, Ethereum Bitcoin is getting to 0.25, historically, the last 2 cycles, let's go to the 0.25. We have another macro Fibonacci retracement here. The 0.25 to 0.5 here is when we've had alt season last couple times. So that 0.25, it's where we got rejected. In fact, we're doing a very similar move as we saw back from August 2020 to January 21. But after here, we had one more bit of chop, and then it was alt season. So if we got something similar, let me draw it out for you. Some people like pictures. It would look something like this. Who knows? We'll see. All right. No one's ever accused me of being a good artist. So going back over to Bitcoin, my macro viewpoint hasn't changed. I still think that 155K is our next major fib target, the 2618 Fibonacci extension. The 3618's up there at 200K. That lines up with our Bitcoin rainbow chart. And our rainbow chart, you can see, let's say we have a top March next year. I'm just going to move over to March. You look at those orange boxes or the orange log regression bands, you can see the dark orange starts at about the low 200K. I think 200K would be a great area for a top. You see how we have regressing tops over time. The orange box area lines up in our log regression. It also lines up with our Fibonacci retracement. And when we add in our pi cycle indicator, which Bitcoin loves to hit when we get into euphoria, you'd see Bitcoin gets above the pi cycle and runs into it. Gets above, mid-cycle top. Gets above, mid-cycle top. Okay? I think these pi cycle tops are getting weaker each time. It's not getting as, we're not having the same strength of movements as above. And this week, I also talked about how bottom to top, each of the bottoms to tops are becoming more stretched out. So each cycle, bottom to top, we're looking at the days a little under 500 days. This one, a little under 900 days. This one, bottom to top, 1,050 days. Each bottom to top has been stretched out. And because of that stretching, let's just go somewhere like 1,300 days, okay? I'm not saying it's going to be July. It could be 1,200. It could be March, whatever. As we're stretching, that is what the log regression is showing us, is that each cycle, Bitcoin stretches. It pulls horizontally more each time. And so that is why I am not being married or fully putting all my marbles in the 4-year cycle basket for all the 4-year cyclists. I believe the cycle's being stretched. And as far as the alt season indicators, saying, Bitcoin has the top, well, I don't believe we've topped yet. And Ethereum, Bitcoin, we haven't gotten to alt season territory that we've gotten to the last 2 times around. So hopefully this level stays as a local bottom. If it were to go lower than this, the next area I would look at, you can see how much horizontal price action there is here as far as Bitcoin. If we were to break under this roughly 98K area, I think the next area, kind of around 94K, would be a good local bottom area. And then if we add on our moving averages, that 94K area, that would be, it's possible. We continue sideways, we could get a candle body and a wick down to 94K. All that is possible. So as I said, I wanted to get into altcoin analysis today, go bargain shopping, and that is what we're going to do. So if you have any requests for altcoin analysis, please comment below. Let's start off with our Bitcoin mining stocks. We're just going to run through these, and let's add on our MACD indicator here. Yeah, you can see Bitcoin. I want to see this start to curl up and get ready to flip. That is what I'm looking for a lot of these. We're just going to run through a lot of different assets today. So again, even if you're watching a replay, comment below. You do see the MACD curling down here now. I think this can still continue upwards even for IREN. IREN, this is the low to high, very detached from these moving averages. Now the 1618 macro fib level right here is at $44, $45. We have the 20-week moving average, and if IREN did a 236 pullback, even went up a touch higher than the first time I charted. If it did a 236 full pullback, 20-week moving average, this whole area, if you really love IREN and you don't believe this cycle's done yet, this low 40 area would be a good area to catch IREN. Now, in my personal belief, I think this is more profit-taking level than it is buy level. There are people who love IREN, and that's fine. I love IREN too. I've loved it down here when it is $5. So it's already done a 10x. And anytime you have an asset going up 13, if your asset does a 13x in half a year or 7 months, 210 days, you should be considering some level of profit taking, in my opinion. Also, just throwing in a little sprinkle of stock analysis so you guys can see here. This is comparing the .com bubble on the Shiller P ratio with the AI bubble. Yes, we are in a bubble. However, I believe this bubble has room to run. I believe we're going to get violent swings up and down, high volatility. Volatility, some of you may have heard this expression, is vitality. I believe that volatility will bring the life to an end of cycle sort of strength for many of these crypto assets. So I do think IREN can go higher. It already has a market cap of $17 billion. And so if it were to hit these next levels, you're talking 20 billion plus market cap iron, and market cap does matter, no matter how much you love your crypto. It affects everything. As far as Cypher, still hanging out at that 1618 macro fib. Again, very detached. So if any of these get pullbacks, they could be violent. It is very detached. Let's take a look at the daily. After it hit that fib, it did come back down to the 20-day moving average. But overall, this is still very much bullish. So bullish trend, hitting the 20-day moving average. It might test it again, come down, and then maybe we break. The next major area for Cypher mining stock would be at around 39 bucks. So as far as market cap, if we go close to 39 bucks, obviously the market cap is going to be close to where iron is, which would be pretty good. Let's go over to Riot. Again, we're just doing technical analysis on a lot of different crypto assets and seeing where there's still good discounts and deals. And, some of these assets, I do own some Riot and Cypher. Cypher's in profit taking territory for me. I am not buying Cypher right now. As far as Riot, yes, it hit the 618. I am hoping that after it had this pullback, and we call these former highs, the 0.5, the 100-day moving average. Once Riot settles down here at this $16 area, if you like Riot's potential and you believe this thing can make new all-time highs, it's still a fine area to get in. So its former all-time high is around 80 bucks. We have trend lines connecting its last two tops, and if it were to get to a Fibonacci extension like it's 1618, again, do your own research, but you can see the 1618 is at 126. That would be a 6x or so. And then up here, 200. That's still a 10x. Now, if Riot ever got to 200, I'm not saying it's going to, I would be selling everything. Again, I'm not saying it's going to get up here. There's no guarantees that Riot is even going to get past its former all-time highs. But if you believe in Riot and you like the mining stock's potential, I don't hate the current level that it's at right now. Other things I look for, as a dollar cost averager, sure, I might put some money in right now, but I would also be looking at some confirmation. Go over to the stochastic RSI. Don't love that. I would wait for that to settle down. As far as the stochastic momentum of it, I would be taking a look at the MACD. I'm not going to do this analysis for everything, but I'd wait for the MACD to settle down to see if maybe these cross or maybe if we get a bounce. So those are some things I look for. I want to see the structure of different indicators sort of bottom out and say, okay, we're ready for our next wave. But yeah, as far as dollar cost average, if you were able to catch around 16, I don't hate that level right there for Riot. Next, let's move on to Cores, Mara, and Wolf. We'll get into altcoins after we go through maybe about 10 of these mining stocks. We've just gone through 4 of them. Cores, nice candle body to that 1236. The 1618 is up here at 26 bucks. Cores is doing very well right now. After it got above that 1236, you can see it pull back to the 20. It might come back down to its former all-time high level at 1853 or even that 50-day moving average for Cores. Let's go to Wolf and then Mara. And Wolf, similarly doing well. I was concerned because Wolf has been in this massive ascending channel, higher highs, higher lows, hit the 786, and that channel together. Now, it might pull back halfway and then continue up further. When assets get above an ascending channel, they can backtest it and then really take off vertically. So if TerraWolf ever pulled a move where maybe it comes down a little, breaks up, comes back down, and then shoots up higher, if Wolf did a move like this out of its ascending channel, I would be taking a look at taking profits. So again, we might just stay in this channel for TerraWolf, but with some of these crypto assets we've talked about so far, these mining stocks, I am looking more at profit taking levels rather than buying in right now. Riot so far would be the only one where I might consider a little dollar cost average. Mara would be another one where I'd be considering some dollar cost average. I did just see an article from Yahoo, I believe, or on Yahoo Finance, naming Mara as looking at connecting with some AI cloud services. Now, I just showed you IREN and Cypher's charts, and part of the reason IREN and Cypher launched so hard, or it's been connected to similar AI cloud services. Guys, these are good. I don't want you to fall for it too much. These are good narratives right now. I promise you, when this bubble pops and we unwind, these narratives won't matter. So these are all good things right now to go with the narrative and the momentum and getting retail and suckers to buy into it and pump the price up. These things will come back down to earth sometime. I don't think anytime soon. But if Mara is to start getting looped into AI cloud service type talk, then you would finally see Mara break out of this channel and make some big moves up. I think Mara still has 10x potential from where it is right now. But you can see on the daily, at least, it is under the 0.5 fib. Probably has some areas to buy it down here in the mid $14 if we go over to the weekly. Right now, this is just the wick. We have the candle body. Again, I'd be taking a look at some other indicators like the MACD, RSI to show me some ascending strength. This would be reason for concern. But again, I'd wait for it to cross downward. I do like the overall positive trend here for Mara. You can see there's been a long negative trend. And maybe if we're getting a higher low, higher high trend with the MACD, this can slowly move up and make this thing pop. So I am keeping a close eye on Mara. And to be honest, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm probably going to look at dollar cost averaging in here around this 0.5 level at 16. It's a little under right now. Probably wait for a touch more confirmation on the daily or a little stability so I'm not catching a falling knife. But I do like the level Mara's at right now. So yeah. And then let's also go into, we'll finish up mining stocks with CleanSpark, Bitfarms, Hive, and Digital. Let's go through those quick. Hope all of you are doing well today. Originally, I wasn't planning on doing a live stream today, but circumstances worked out. CleanSpark, I would say, CleanSpark kind of like Riot. It matched up near its former all-time highs, or cycle highs, sorry. And then it got rejected yet again off this 786. CleanSpark has struggled with the 786. However, you see the strength. You see it continuing to battle. It's not weak and down here. It is up here, man. And it has come back down to its macro golden pocket, the 618 to the 65. That's the 200-day moving average. This is 100. So I think anywhere in here between 14 and high $12 range, if you like CleanSpark, that'd be an area I would consider looking at. If we did stretch out this channel a little bit further, what did I just draw there? I don't even know. I was still on the paint mode. If we stretch this channel down, excuse me, had to sneeze. If I could get some CleanSpark in that $12 range, I'd probably have to pick some up myself. Let's go over to Bitfarms. If I need to sneeze again, I'll mute the microphone. I don't want to put you guys through that. So Bitfarms, I don't always see the 888 come into play, but the Fibonacci retracement at the 888 at 647, you can see it tagged it perfectly, and we have sold down back to the 50-day moving average. So remember what I showed you with IREN and Cypher being detached from the moving averages. When these things decide to come back down to those moving averages, you can see it can have quite a drop. Now, this has, of course, people feeling extreme fear. I mean, hell, that's a 50% drop. It's nothing to sneeze at. But we've been talking about Bitfarms for a while. If you were to get in anywhere around that 236, you'd have over a 7x if you were just selling fib levels. So I do like assets that honor their fib levels. That's why I like to marry together the moving averages as well as the fibs. For the most part, it's really rare, I find, or that I ever find assets that are not honoring one or the other, or both. When they honor both, the moving averages and the fibs, those are assets I love to dollar cost average in and out of. So we did Bitfarms, we need to do Bit Digital and Hive, and then we're going to move to various altcoins. We'll start from the top with Ethereum XRP. Bit Digital, this is one that this thing's accumulating quite a bit. So it's at some of these moving averages, possibly getting lower. If Bit Digital comes back down to its 382 at 260, I would be very tempted to pick some up there. So yeah, right now you can see how this thing. I have a very lazy channel drawn out. I was hoping we were seeing some strength here. Just zooming in, way in, you can see these series of higher lows, higher highs. So this could be a potential bottom. Just drawing a trend line out here. This could be a potential bottom if you truly love Bit Digital, but if this trend line were to break, I'm looking for support right here in structure. And then, of course, if it got down to $2 again, here you're just taking an educated gamble. We'll go to Hive and then transition to altcoins. So remember, as I'm looking at all these Bitcoin mining stocks, one of the reasons I love Bitcoin mining stocks so much, well, two main reasons. Number one, look how few of them there are. For any of the mining stocks at a billion plus, which are the these would be considered mid caps as far as altcoins go. If you're going 1 to 16 billion, where would that fit in the crypto world? So 16 billion would be right here at the number 11 area, and then 1 billion you're getting to cryptos. There's a bunch of them here down to 73. So you see all these cryptos. There's almost 60 cryptos between that 1 to $17 billion range. For mining stocks, we have far fewer. There's only about, in my opinion, you don't even have a dozen to pay attention to. I'd say even less. I'd say 10 or less. So there's only 10 mining stocks worth paying attention to as far as, not being penny stocks and real companies with balance sheets that you can look into. The other reason I like mining stocks is because these things top with Bitcoin. They top with or slightly before Bitcoin. Whereas altcoins that we're going to talk about, they top after Bitcoin. They top most of the time, not all the time. They top when Bitcoin has topped and is too expensive to keep buying. That's when we get the rotation with Bitcoin dominance, as I've talked about many times before. So going over to Hive before we jump into our altcoins, you see we've been in this long channel, moved out of it, back testing it. This might be a good area for Hive. Possibly a 50-day moving average channel. Maybe on the daily it'll even test that 3.2 at around 421. It is in the $4 range. I do not doubt it probably has a sell signal here. It does. But on the way up, these sell signals have gone in groups of two. So if that trend line from the channel were to hold up, then this could be a possible area for a nice low. Again, the 200-week moving average and that 3.2, even if we got back in the channel, I would like some Hive right there. I might consider it. All right, let's move on to our altcoins. So again, as I was talking about with alt season, here's one of the nice Ethereum indicators I really like. We'll take off moving averages for now. You can see we're nowhere near end of cycle metrics right now. Again, as I talked about earlier in the video, each cycle gets stretched. And this cycle, it is more stretched. It's taken longer to play out. And we are still waiting for Ethereum Bitcoin to get up into these, to get above the 0.5 fib, basically. When it's moving from 0.25 to 0.5, this is when we've had those alt season tops. We got rejected by the 0.5, so we're probably coming down a little bit, and then we'll start to test it. So I'm looking at a similar move, kind of like what we had here end of 2020. I don't believe the 4-year cycle thing is as cut and dry as people think, as they say it is. So that's what I'm looking at. And also with Bitcoin dominance, yes, we're having a positive move up. I think once Bitcoin dominance shows that this move is done and starts to move downwards, whether it's here, I don't care. Once it starts moving downwards, I think that's going to be closer to go time. So as soon as December, I think November, we have to be looking at opportunities and discounts. That's why I'm running through all these different altcoins and assets to see where there are still discounts for an alt season. But we also have to be ready, because once Bitcoin dominance comes down, once we get the rotation from Bitcoin into any of your altcoins, it is very nice. I just want you to remember the number one hardest thing is to pick the right altcoin. I do not know which altcoin will run and which won't. You can base them off of risk, high and low risk, high and low potential in many different ways. I hope you choose the right altcoin. It is very hard to bat 1,000 when it comes to altcoins. Without any further ado, let's start talking about altcoins. And if you have any requests, please comment them below. So, taking a look at Ethereum, let's add on our moving averages yet again. We're on the weekly time frame, and you can see Ethereum, it got to its former all-time high, but then it came down a little bit, and it came down to its 786. See, it wicked right to the 50-week moving average, almost wicked to the 100. This kind of reminds me a little bit of Bitcoin in March of 24. Now, Bitcoin in March of 24, everyone was excited. The halving was coming up after the halving, before the halving, we had brand new Bitcoin ETFs. But I want you to take a look at what happened with Bitcoin right before the halving. Yes, it technically made new all-time highs, but these were just, as far as charting goes, these were just wicks. Okay, the candle bodies were staying under. I use Heikin-Ashi because it's great at showing you the trend, but the candle body stayed under. It came down to the 20, tested again, came down to 76, tested again, came down to the 50, and then we started charging up. So going back over to Ethereum, I think we're getting something similar, maybe in a more condensed form. So we hit the all-time high. Now remember, it tested the 20 and it did that over and over. But after it retested the 50, that's when we started getting up. So hopefully we start seeing some higher lows. I do want to keep on the MACD for a number of these today. The MACD and maybe which one of these other indicators should I use? Ultimate RSI I have on the moving average. We might be good with this right now. I think these two together, because we have the moving averages and the fibs, these will be good. So you do see negative momentum, okay? Now, we've had a negative pull right here, okay? I want to see the overall moving averages stay positive and start moving to the upside. So we've seen this in the past. I think on the monthly kind of shows pretty well. Just look at the MACD on the monthly, okay, where that momentum is. The monthly momentum's still positive. And so, it's just getting a little bit of a pullback, but hopefully it starts pulling to the upside. I still have high hopes for Ethereum. I'm talking 10K plus. I truly believe that for Ethereum. But no confirmation that it's done bottoming yet. Let's take a look at our number one altcoin outside of Ethereum, and that would be XRP. And I did the market cap one. My bad. I need to go down to the Binance one. And I like taking a look at the US dollar pair. So XRP obviously had that giant, crazy Binance scam wick. You'd see the MACD still negative. Now, look at all this accumulation here. I'm trying to zoom in here. Look at all that, again, the negative trend. Once that trend started to reverse, okay, higher lows, once that MACD started to cross up and above right here, man, it just took off from 50 cents to $3. So nice 6x really within the matter of a month. But so far, XRP, it is holding the 50-week moving average. We have our fib off log scale because we're taking a look at price targets. Now, this MACD, we do have these lower highs. The trend is overall down. Don't love seeing that. I do think there's still life left in it. I do compare this kind of to 2017. 2017 right here. See this nice move by XRP. We're just chopping sideways for a bit. Went up to 38, 40 cents. And then when alt season hit, this thing really took off. Now XRP at this high is the same high that it had all the way from 2017. If XRP can break above its former all-time high, I'm looking for price targets of $5.67 to $9. Now, I like XRP as an altcoin. I do not like the followers of XRP. So XRP has a current market cap of $140 billion, $2.32. Let's say XRP does a 3x, which makes it $6.96. All right, almost $7, right between the 1618, 2618. Right? If it did a 3x in price, it's going to do a 3x in market cap, which would be 420 billion, if my math's correct. 420 billion is very good. There's people out there saying XRP is going to $100, $10,000. And guys, those market caps are just unrealistic. The largest company in the world, Nvidia, just recently, not right now, but recently when it was over 200, over 5 trillion. Hate to burst your bubble, no pun intended, but XRP is not going to have a higher market cap than Nvidia. If you want to say maybe a $1 trillion XRP, okay. I think you're one of the more realistic XRP army members out there. But I would be even more conservative than that personally. I do like its potential, but I do think a lot of the XRP stuff out there, it really has no backing. It's just it's based on hopes and dreams. And guys, I'm sorry, you cannot chart and make predictions based off of your own hopes and dreams. Everyone hopes and dreams of being a millionaire. That is why technical analysis is so important. Get the data to back up your claims and at least be somewhat realistic in your expectations so you're not left holding a bag of XRP for 4 years. Let's take a look at Binance. So BNB, just heard about Donald Trump pardoning CZ, as some people say. That's great for Binance. Now, Binance almost got up to the 2618. It is holding support off the 1618 wick down to the 20. Nice support here. So, again, I think with some of these, I'm looking at more profit-taking levels. Not a fan of Binance personally, as someone based out of the U.S. So, not a fan of Binance, the shenanigans they continue to pull. Not a fan of Tron or Justin Sun, all that. So, yeah, as far as Binance, if you were lucky enough to be buying it down here in the 237 range, this is a large cap. And if you're getting a 5 to 10x with a large cap, I think you've done your job this cycle. Solana, I think Solana, this one is still underneath its former all-time highs. I do like Solana's potential as far as this cycle goes. I believe I've charted the Coinbase one. So Solana, speaking of MACD, you guys can see this negative trend of the MACD, how it bottomed out here with those moving averages. So probably just testing a higher low here. I would wait for the MACD to start curling up. So there's 3 phases I look at this. One, when we start getting these light red boxes, okay, you can see that was a good bottoming area. Now you didn't get the very bottom. That's why we have on moving averages too. So you had the fib, you had your light red boxes, you had your moving averages. So getting Solana in this range between 90 and 140 would be a good area to look at. And then it came up. Now, it got rejected by its former all-time high. It's come back down here. And here's where, again, that I believe that's the 786 and the 200. That's where those are. But Solana, this thing starts getting above its former all-time highs, it can do very well. Charles Kelly, welcome. I'm late again. Not even asked for a Tesla and Doge. I'm just so hopeful right now. Not going to make a single change. We're about to just get to Doge actually pretty soon. I've not talked about Tesla yet. I was just talking about cryptos for this video, but we can take a quick look at Tesla. I just made my feelings known about Tron. Let's go over to Tesla. Appreciate you being here, Charles. Hope you're having a great day. This is good. It's the stock we've charted. So Tesla, man, Tesla's doing very well. On the micro time frame, let's make sure our fib is on log scale. It is not. On the micro time frame, it's, man, look at that 888 battle. Now, one thing I will say, the 888, it isn't one of the strongest fibs. And so I do like how it's just slowly grinding up, right? We can get rid of, I want to clean this up a little bit. I have a fib within a fib, moving averages. It's a lot here for new people to look at. But Tesla, if it gets above this former all-time high, I do think we have potential to see Tesla get to the 600 region, and it has been in this massive channel. So if it gets up here, I would guess something as volatile as Tesla, which, you know, it's one of the top 3 every single day, top 3 traded stock assets out there. If it gets up here, I think the puts are going to come in very heavy on Tesla. You wanted to talk about Doge, which we will get to. We're just going to first take a look at Tron. And as far as Tron goes, let's put this on auto. You can see this trend overall is very good for the MACD, but recently we have a higher low and probably getting a lower low. So this trend might start going downwards, but Tron has done very well. Hit that 2618 at 40 cents, and it is coming back down and get support at the 50 and the 1618. So if Tron gets through its 2618, I could see Tron getting as high as maybe even 62 cents. That's the 4236 3618. Yeah, 50 to 60 cents. I would be hard pressed if I had Tron right now, not taking profits off Tron. Let's get to Doge for Charles as well. And this was the next highest crypto as far as market cap goes. So did Tron, Doge, we'll do Cardano, and then we're going to start jumping around between different cryptos I like, different ones you guys have asked about, requested before. But first with Doge, I've seen this chart quite a bit for Doge as far as these higher lows are concerned. So Doge making these series of higher lows. This trend line of the higher lows, man, it does look like it wants to break underneath that. So you can see the wick right down to the 200. However, this 200 moving average, if we don't want to be as obsessed with trend lines, this 200 moving average has been the area for Doge. Now, this does overall look weak. I do think right now you see these higher lows, higher highs for Doge, and it's testing in the negative area yet again. So I would not be surprised if we saw Doge maybe candle body on the 200, wick to the 382. You could set buy orders if you believe in Doge for alt season. So anywhere between 14 and 15 cents, probably not the worst for Doge. I mean, let's be honest, a couple months ago, how many of you who like Doge thought it would maybe get back down to 14 cents? Before that largest liquidation event ever, thanks Binance, there's a reason I don't like it. A lot of you were probably thinking when Doge was over 22, you were not thinking about 14 cents again. So if you liked Doge here, in my opinion, you should love it here. Okay, this is where I'm going to try to challenge your emotions. As a good market psychologist, if you believe in an asset, then you should be buying when you get the discounts. A lot of people, they get in the hype train, they're worried about the FOMO, and then when it dies, be honest with yourself. Some of you stop paying attention, and then you're like, I'm not buying that crap. You bought it here, but then you call it crap here. So if Doge is something you love, if it's around 14 cents, I would have a hard time not picking up some Doge at that level. Next, let's take a look at Cardano. A lot of these altcoins, by the way, before we go into Cardano, again, go back to what I said earlier in the video, what I keep talking about with dominance, okay? If Bitcoin shows structure at saying at its 50-week moving average, even if it wicked down to 94K, I wouldn't care. But if dominance starts to top out in the 60 range and then starts to come back down, I think these altcoins are going to get ready to run very, very well lately. So, speaking of MACD trend lines or just directions, look at this giant negative pull here. The MACD has only started to move upwards on ETH Bitcoin. We're probably getting somewhat of a V-shaped recovery that could complete. This is why we have on our macro caps that could complete quarter one, quarter two of next year. Again, each cycle, I believe, is getting stretched out. So let's go back to Cardano. And I think this is the chart I've been looking at. So Cardano, this is our recent high to low. It is flirting with that. It's bearish as far as a 50-week. And that 382, man, I do not love. Here's all some horizontal support in the 200. I do not love seeing Cardano come down here. I would not be surprised. I mean, here's some negative momentum there. I would not be surprised to see Cardano come back down to 42 cents. Now, if you like Cardano, and I mean, here's some bullish. Could we draw a channel? I'm going to try it. Sometimes I want to draw just trend lines. Sometimes I want to draw channels. Okay, let's do something. Not as much of, it's kind of like Doge where we have these higher highs, but then the higher lows are more flat. Sort of like, what do they call that? A megaphone pattern. So not quite a great channel. I want it to be one. It really isn't. It came out of the channel there. We'll just keep it there. If you like Cardano and it came down to this higher low trend line, somewhere around 45 cents, 42 cents. If you like Cardano, I would be taking a look at Cardano there. Let's go to one of my favorite larger cap altcoins, that is Chainlink. As far as cryptos, and I do the research on different ones, XRP is one I like a lot, but I think it's a high floor, lower ceiling crypto. Safer, sure, but when I take a look at, good floor and very high ceiling, I think of Chainlink. Not telling you what to do. No real change in momentum at all. It's just chopping around. I want to see this move start to finish. And, if Chainlink loses this 0.5, it's already tested the 200. I would not be surprised to see Chainlink come down here in this area. If Chainlink gets to its 200 or lower, 14.20 to $12, anywhere around this ascending channel, I will be picking up some Chainlink. And again, this negative move, it looks like it still has some room to play out. So I'm not sure how strong the 50 and the 100 are here for Chainlink. Going to be hopping around different altcoins. So again, if you have any requests, comment them below. But if you guys have asked about them before, I'm going to be taking a look at them moving forward. So we'll get into SWE, and then we'll get into AVAX right after that. SWE, don't love the way the momentum's carrying it negative. Tested, and now we are going negative. So, yeah, I have a fib within a fib here. I want to clean things up a little bit. So you see the MACD is negative. You see the candle body is hanging out at its former all-time high area. So, yeah, it came up to the 2618. And again, SWE, went from an average of around 70 cents to $5. Did a 7X very fast. Great profit taking area, but now that it's coming back down here, maybe you could say some higher lows and possibly, I haven't charted this one in a while. You could say possibly like a giant flag pennant wedgie forming here. So you would want to get somewhat support where it is right now. If it starts to break down underneath, then we got to put our fib back on the log. But hopefully it starts chopping around in here and then could have another big move up in time for an alt season. If it broke above its 2618, we're talking about $6-7 for a price. And as far as market cap goes, if it got up there, we're talking $24 billion market cap. Charles, thank you. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Things are going very well for me. And I have a niece and nephew visiting. And so the house been very loud. They left, and so I'm getting some fresh air. I'm like, I got to clear my head from my niece and nephew trying to destroy my home. They're cute kids, but they're little. And I decided to punish myself further by looking at charts. So, what can you do? But the house isn't being destroyed right now. And so you love those munchkins. But yeah, glad to get some time away just to let my brain relax. Anyways, let's go over to AVAX. We'll do Litecoin too. AVAX. Any other uncles out there who can relate, comment below. It's no joke. AVAX. All right. Our internet's deciding to be a little bit slow here. Sometimes it does this. We'll go to AVAX / tether. Sometimes I have to type it in. Oh no. How about AVAX / USD? It's just not loading up for me right now. All right, cool. That works. So as far as AVAX USD, it's not usually the chart. This is not what I'm looking at. This is its market cap. No, that is not. That is not its market cap. Its market cap is $7.6 billion. All right. Well, let's hit the refresh here. We'll hit the refresh. Hopefully this thing starts working. Sometimes when there's a lot of people on TradingView at the same time, I don't know if you guys notice this, but we'll get those delays a little bit. AVAX / let me do this. How does it look on Link? It doesn't look like Chainlink's US dollar. Avalanche / US dollar. Let's do that. God dang it. All right. Grandkids were over today, and unfortunately for my wife, I helped them destroy the house. Nice. Yeah, Charles, I'm not grandkid level yet, but there are some times where I'm just like, all right, do your worst. Like you get the energy for them, and then you give them things to do. You're like, all right, leave me alone. So sorry about the delay here. It's just sometimes it does that. Just taking a look at some other. So, all right, I want to try that avalanche slash tether, not Tetcher, tether US. Okay, not sure why that isn't working. Here we go. All right, now we're back. No idea was. Do I need to have a space in there? AVAX that tether that yes. Anyways, doesn't matter. As far as AVAX goes, you can see the momentum. Don't love seeing the trend come down here. It does look like momentum has to come down one more time. The next time momentum kind of bottoms down here for AVAX, hopefully it's staying at the 236. I know there's some of you out there that love AVAX. And again, going back to my altcoin spiel before, the most important thing for buying altcoins is buying the right one. As far as buying the right one, everyone's got a different strategy. Some people, they're swinging for the fences, buying meme coins and stuff, even for the large caps. I mean, take a look at this. It's hard. And so if you believe AVAX is the right one, and if it is a chosen one, AVAX down here is a great freaking deal. Now, that's if it's a chosen one. Then, we could take the fib off a log and we can, do a prediction based off our hopes and dreams. Say, you know what? Maybe AVAX is going to come down to this channel $12 and then it's going to hit that 1618 and it's going to do a 20x and then I could pay off my house right off into the sunset. Again, I would say that's not being smart with your decision making process. That's just a strategy isn't based off hopes and dreams and just, well, if it gets here, then I'll do that and it's going to get there. Like, have a solid strategy, but AVAX, no doubt about it, it is bearish. So could come down further. If it ever starts to pull above its 32 and 50 week, then we're good. That's promising. And the nice thing is we have these lower highs. So then we just got to break out of the channel and then this thing could take off pretty well for AVAX. All right. Let's see here. Litecoin, wanted to take a look at that one. Let's see. LTC. Litecoin's been on Coinbase forever. As far as Litecoin goes, this would be one of those high floor, low ceiling altcoins. Now, this trend overall went up. As far as the MACD, does look like we're getting a lower high here, though. So I'd worry about this one. We do have an ascending channel, and you'd want the channel to hold. Litecoin right here between 82 and $95. If you like your Litecoin, that's a good area. And again, if Litecoin had got anywhere near 400, I'm sorry, guys. I don't believe in Litecoin breaking above 400. 2 cycles straight. If you are a Litecoiner and you're like, you know what? That's fine. I'll buy some at $70 or $40 and hitting 400 is all I need. Again, that's lower risk, but again, lower ceiling as far as cryptos are concerned. So not hating that plan at all. Just be careful. H-bar. I have some H-bar myself. Let's take a look at it. And let's see which one. It just wears me out. Some of them are Hedera US dollar, Hedera hash graph. I don't get it. But anyways, as far as H bar hit at 786, came down. It's finding good support here on the 0.5. You can see so far the hundreds holding up, but broke through the 50, the golden pocket. Now it's kind of being rattled around. Good support there at the 100. But if this were to break, the 0.5 to 200's there. However, look at the MACD here, right? The MACD. Now, I like these light red boxes, but I don't like how this moving average is going negative there. So hopefully this can start to cross upwards. And then maybe we get, another big move for H-bar. But right now, there is some signs of some possible relief. We'll see, though. We'll see. I think November, overall macro-wise, is shaping up to be more bearish. Let's see. Sorry, got to answer a text real quick. This is concerning food, so it's kind of important. All right. So, anyways, as I was saying, as far as H bar, yeah, I do like this, but hopefully that 100 holds. Yeah, H bar. What's its market cap at? 7.6 billion. I mean, this is one that's been around since last cycle. Monero, this one's been around since 2017. It always kind of surprised me sometimes which of the 2017 altcoins are still out there. Monero. I remember some people being like really big into Monero. I'm just looking at, which chart would be the best. Monero, I guess the Kraken one. All right. Well, we haven't taken a look at this fib in a while. I can always tell because I make upgrades to my Fibonacci's. And yeah, it's stuck at the 786. Let me say something real quick. PSA, last cycle, there were altcoins from 2017 that did not make new highs and only went back to their 618 or 786. So do keep that in mind. Of course, I hope this goes higher, but if it doesn't, keep that in mind. I do like this positive momentum on the MACD. I do like how it's flipping green. It is testing that 786 at a nice bounce off the golden pocket 50-week moving average area. And if Monero ever got back to its former all-time highs or even this trend line, try to connect that as well as I can. Could it get up to 585? So, that's something to think about. Again, if it's ever getting to these macro targets, you got to be looking at what's Bitcoin doing. Is Bitcoin looking at topping, being close to topping, already topped? If so, I not telling you what to do, not financial advice, but that's when I'm like, all right, I'm taking some profits, just in case it doesn't. All right, at least you come away with something. Let's see, what else can we take a look at? Let's take a look at DOT. I've seen a lot of people, or more people, talking about DOT lately on Twitter, now X. And there you go. I had no idea why, to be honest. I'm not going to include the Scabwick, but goddamn. And this is one that we have not looked at in a while. I wanted to turn down the volume. There we go. Yeah, DOT looks like crap. This thing is just bearish. Now, maybe the moment flipping positive, but so far, I mean, when you're under the 382, this orange line right here, you can keep making new lower lows. So I would not be touching this. I've seen too many altcoins in 2017, during alt season, in 2021, and since then that just die. So yeah, I mean, if all of a sudden, if you believe you have information no one else does, yeah, you're getting a great discount. Good for you. I hope it works for you. But yeah, that's why it's out there. I want to take a look at ICP. Not taking a look at ICP in a while. There used to be, I swear, at the start of this cycle, a lot of ICP people who really loved internet computer. MACD flipping positive, that's good. But when we zoom in and take a look at this, right, ICP retested its lows, and then what happened? It jumped up. Look at that giant wick. I mean, god dang, what's that move there? And over the course of 2 weeks, it jumped up 200%. It's crazy. I don't believe in moves like this, guys. So ICP, look at this 100-week moving average. This has been where it's died before. So we hit it again. That 382, ICP has to break that. And we have the 0.5 at the 200. So speaking of coins that just die, I hate charts that look like this. I hate charts that look like this, even though I bought some Jasmine on a similar chart. Ugh. And so, I bought Jasmine somewhere in here, so it made good money. But yeah, I hate charts that look like that. Broke its trend line. I'm hoping Jasmine can hold its 236. Maybe if it starts to come back up. I do like Jasmine as a high risk, educated gamble, dollar cost average play here. But let me say this, be fully transparent. When I'm buying an altcoin that looks like this at this level, I am fully assuming responsibility for myself that I might never see that money again. All right. It is high risk. It could pay off. It could 10x. It could go to zero. All right. Both are possibilities. And I would say it's more probable it goes to zero. So again, it's a high risk play, more of a home run play. Not telling you to buy it. I like lower risk stuff, but just something to keep in mind. Shambath, welcome to the live stream. What about Deep? Deep Book. I've never heard of Deep Book. Where is Deep Book? Before I even try to type it in, because if it's one with a market cap in the tens of thousands, I'm not looking at it. All right, it's not. All right, sometimes people request altcoins with a market cap of 20K. I'm not going to chart those guys. I am not endorsing that at all. Those are all death to me. So if you find one of those, great. You could be a millionaire. But Deep Book, number 148, market cap of 293 million. All right. Number 148 overall crypto, Deep Book. Let's see. Deep Book US dollar. All right, this one. It's on Python. I want to see, is KuCoin, okay, not on, is it on Coinbase? Not seeing it on Coinbase. Pudgy Penguin, I'll take a look at Pudgy Penguin for you. I'm just going to take a look at a couple different Deep Book. Deep Book. I want to see which chart is better. Mexi or KuCoin. Wait, did I just do the Mexi one? Let's look at KuCoin. Yeah, they're the same chart. All right, cool. Hate seeing this on the MACD, so let's zoom in on the daily. All right, this came out, or IPO'd, if you will. Shot up straight to around 3 cents. That's the base, 3.5 cents. This was October of 2024. Again, being fully transparent, I know nothing about Deep Book, so as far as the insight on it, that's up to you to consider. It is bearish on the moving averages. It is bearish on the MACD. You can see the momentum pulling it downwards. Again, picking the right altcoin is a big battle. On the weekly, the momentum is very much negative. So we're going to take a Fibonacci retracement, high to low. I think that suits this one best. I mean, it's bearish there as well. It's on our 236. You see the 50-day and the 3-2 there. So that area right around 10 cents is a very important area. So, it could come back up, test this 236 at around 7.5 cents. But if it never breaks through this 10 cent, I'm going to say 10 to 10.5 cent area, I'd be very careful. This level, this former low here, and you can see all these lows back here, around 40 or 4.7 cents. I'm not telling you to make an educated gamble there. I don't know why you believe in Deep Book. That's up to you. I'm not here to endorse your altcoin or say it sucks. If it breaks under this level of 4.7 cents, this thing could get bad really fast. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Deep Book. I would be worried about this one. And you want to take a look at Pudgy Penguin. All right, this is one of the funniest meme coin names. I thought Pudgy Penguin wasn't too far down the list. Such a hilarious name. Yeah, number 71 crypto. Remember what we were talking about with mining stocks? That when I take a look at miners, I want to see, around a 1 billion plus market cap. And that's where most of the good mining stocks are, 1 billion plus. Pudgy Penguin is the very last altcoin with a market cap over 1 billion. So, yeah, let's take a look at Pengu, Pudgy Penguin. I have a buddy who's bought Fartcoin dog whiff hat. He's not been happy lately. I keep telling him, hey, here's my simplest TA for any meme coin. If your meme coin, your garbage coin runs, take profits. It's that simple. Meme coins and this crap, it doesn't have to honor all season metrics. It might, but if they run 2x, 5x, take profit. Don't be greedy. All right, Pudgy Penguin. Cool. This is one we charted before. Let's make sure we put our fib on log because we're not in new high territory. And so Pudgy Penguin, we have our fib high to low. Came back down to the 0.5. It is bearish as far as moving averages go. As far as, look at this negative momentum here on the MACD. Very negative. Now it is curling up. I want to see this cross positively, but I want to see momentum start to get back here. So, whenever momentum's this low, pardon me, like if I'm a dollar cost averager, let's swap out the name Pengu. Let's say this is a stock like Walmart, McDonald's, whatever, a good stock. If I see very negative momentum, I'm like, all right, this thing's not coming back for a while. But here's a good dollar cost average area. It is bearish. If I'm dollar cost averaging in, this is an area I'd be looking at. This fib at around 1.3 cents. Okay. Now I want to take a look, from some more macro areas. Here, by the way, look at this momentum low to high. Even though the price was here, you can see how this upward momentum, yes, we had a bottom, but that upward momentum from the MACD pulled it up here. Okay. Had a nice uh, consistent peak together. All right. But then the momentum's been downward. So I want to see this momentum not just flip on the MACD, but the next time the momentum starts to get here, okay, look where the price was here, here, okay, this is how you can look for confirmation. So yes, when the MACD flips positive, yes, when you can use buy signals too. You would catch a weekly buy signal down there somewhere. All right, we only have the daily right now. Can I go to the weekly? I want to go to the weekly. Yes, you would have had a buy signal here. So I kind of like the daily more. You'd have a buy signal there too, and that lined up well with the positive MACD flip. Yeah, when that momentum's curling up, okay, that's good. So look to see when we are turning green again. Are we still holding support? When the moving average on the MACD starts to get positive, it might be up here in the golden pocket. Great. But yeah, I hope Pudgy Penguin works out for you and you get some good profits and can buy yourself a nice dinner and become a Pudgy Penguin yourself. That sounded weird. Whatever. All right, let's get into some more altcoins. Let's take a look at Near. I remember, I think it was last year, if not more, I was looking at what are the AI coins. Near, Fetch, those names kept coming up on lists as far as AI altcoins. So this is doing its thing again. Tether. Oh my gosh. Why are we doing this? We'll just give this a minute here. But yeah, let's go back over to the altcoin list. I remember looking at AI altcoins because we are in an AI bubble. And if a crypto with a decently low market cap, like Fetch, Near has a decent market cap. It's at just under 4 billion. If one of those catches the AI craze, these things are going to do very well very quick. Shambath, you're welcome. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, Fetch down here at 876 million. We'll take a look at that one while TradingView figures itself out. I've been keeping an eye on Fetch. And, I was hoping it would hit this area down here, and it still might. Maybe we're just on the daily. This is just, sucking some people in right now. That's the MACD on the daily. Look at that pull, man. Yeah, let's go over to the weekly. Weekly still negative. Now, we are seeing this curl. That's good. Okay. When the MACD starts coming up here, are we going to see Fetch get up to this golden pocket level, 39 cents? I do like that level for Fetch. And I bought some here at the 0.5. I was ready to buy more. If Fetch got down to 17 cents, I was going to buy a lot more. But, you can't always have what you want. This is a nice, let's just take a look at candles themselves. You know what candle this is, right? Pop quiz. That's a doji candle, which means undecided, whether it's green or not. So look at that range of Fetch from 19 cents to 46 cents. That is quite a range. So undecided, it might pop off. It could come back down. If Fetch comes down here, I am buying Fetch at 17 cents. All right. Are we working again? Come on now. TradingView worked before after I hit refresh and gave it a minute. We'll talk about various altcoins as well. Yeah, I hope all you are doing well. All right, Fetch.ai, Tether.us, right? Just finished with that one. Where was Near? Near Protocol. I think that was in the name too. Yeah, Near Protocol / Tether US. Near Protocol. I don't memorize names, by the way. Tether. Yep. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with TradingView today. I swear every week there's some different freaking internet thing. So yeah, we'll just give this a minute. We'll hop over to different cryptos. This is not telling you to buy this. This is a 2017 altcoin that did well in 2021 again, even though it was a dead project. And I use this as an indicator saying, okay, when are we truly risk on? If I see 2017 altcoins that are dead projects now, all of a sudden popping off, I know something's going on. So, yeah, this District OX, I think it was, what was that called? The JPEGs where everyone was getting rich off them, then the market crashed. NFT. I believe this was an NFT crypto that came down or all of a sudden popped off again. So NFT culture to 1.3 cents or something. Everything about it looks negative. But yeah, whenever those older altcoins start popping off, I know we are getting more into these phases. We'll give Near Protocol one more try again. See if we can take a look at that. Otherwise, I'll go to more macro charting. Here we go. How's anyone supposed to know these names? Near USDT. That's what I need to type in. All right. So Near, I do like that the 50 week and the 3-2 are together. So we know where to be bullish. Now, recently, just like, isn't that funny? Another AI altcoin, Fetch here, Fetch and Near. Look at that range of this candle. As low as $1.73, as high as 297. And I mean, look at that range. That's a 70% range inside a weekly candle. Nuts. Going over to the daily, I mean, my God, it didn't hang out at the 236 long and all of a sudden, boom. Now it's still bearish. Okay. This could still just be a trap for retail chasing in. But if Near keeps popping up and down through here, yeah, if you like Near and can get it at $2, I think that's a good area to buy. Let's keep going through some altcoins, and then I'll finish off with some macro analysis. Pepe, let's take a look at Pepe. I could see Pepe pulling a Doge this cycle, being the new Doge, all because it's a stupid frog. Does this not look like a giant head and shoulders, though? Shoulder, head, shoulder. If that's true, this thing could, I mean, that's where this wick took it. So did the head and shoulder already play out? At least on Scam Binance it did. Magic Mather wants Doge again. I already talked about Doge, buddy, but I'll go back just for you because you're a great guy. Yeah, if Pepe stays under this level, man, I could see this thing. Yeah, I could see it going back down to, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, 2, 5, 1. I'm not telling you guys to buy Pepe, all right? These are meme coins. God knows what they're going to do. Magic Mather missed the earlier part of the live stream, but that's okay. We hit the 200 yet again, the 200-week moving average. So if Doge is anywhere between 15 and 14 cents, I think that's an interesting area. The MACD is turning negative again. And so I would be taking a look at these levels. I'd also be taking a look at MACD coming up, turning green, momentum going for a possible. Charles is backing you up. He's got your back, man. He said Doge is worth a second look. He's just saying that because he owns Doge. Ignore Charles. I'm joking, of course. So yeah, we have Doge here on the daily. Daily MACD, it's a little positive, but notice how these moves are getting smaller. So, and we're just dying down. So when we get that, I like to, all right, you guys were right. I'll admit it. I like to take a look through other indicators. Here's the RSI. We've reset ourselves on the daily RSI. Oversold. On the weekly, I mean, higher lows, or higher highs, sorry, lower lows there. Yeah, overall, I mean, it might come back down further, but I am curious to see where would Doge go price-wise if this got overbought again. I'm looking for 90-cent Doge possibly. Let's go to the monthly. Yeah, we had that little blip there to 42 cents. I don't think Doge is done yet. Now, like I said before in the video, there were altcoins from 2017 It only hit their 618, 786, and 21. Doge obviously did great, but it hit at 786. And so was that the possible top? I don't know. Bitcoin Cash, XRP did this in 21. So I'm just warning you, when we did have Doge at 42 cents, I was saying, maybe just get your ROI back, your return on investment, and play with house money. All right. So, yeah, for those of us who got Doge between 6 to 9 cents down here, I think I got it somewhere around the 7 or 8 cent area when I bought my Doge. I'm fine where it is now, but a 6x is nicer than a 2x. So you're hoping for Doge to hold here. And if you like it here, you should love it here. And so, yeah. Let's see. Ondo. I wanted to take a look at Ondo. Ondo, isn't it funny? These altcoins, as soon as they're released on Robinhood, they seem to suck after. As far as Ondo, I want to go back to the MACD. Maybe every week when we do these videos, we just really take a deep dive into one indicator. But yeah, the MACD, negative momentum. I mean, it tried to get positive, and then it just got rejected, and Ondo freaking died, man. I want to get rid of that right there. So this is on the weekly. Now, Ondo, it did come out here in January 24. I want to take a look at the daily. Oh my God. Trading View and their ads. I do want to take a look at the daily. Yeah, not looking great. Now, if Ondo gets back down here to 50 cents, I do think it is worth a little bit of a DCA. Man, I remember when Ondo was looking okay at 84 cents. It really wasn't. I do think it's worth a look. You see some positive momentum pull, negative momentum pull. So yeah, I'm waiting for the MACD to flip up. But right now, yeah, I could see Ondo coming back down to this 50 cent area. If you love Ondo, that'd be an area to consider. Again, when it comes to alt season, it's just picking the right altcoins. Let's see. Someone asked about official Trump coin before, and I'm curious if it ever got back above that moving average we talked about. And no, it did not. So I did a YouTube short on this earlier. Someone said, official Trump. And I was like, well, this thing was getting rejected by that 100-day moving average. And it hung there a little bit. And now, I mean, I'll give it this. Official Trump is coiling. Between the 382 and the 100-day, it is coiling. So this thing looks like it's ready to pop sometime soon. It does not want to go under that 382. But if it does, this thing could go down to $4. If it pops up, then, this thing could, you're looking for it to break resistance there at around $11. Let's see, Caspa. I know some of you guys like Caspa. We'll take a look at that one. I've never truly fully looked into what makes Caspa so great or why some of you guys love it. I mean, it had that great move there, okay, and this thing's just been slowly dying off. So here I just have a fib drawn low to high. If it did, and I think this fib has been honored a little bit. If it did get down further, the 382 there is there at around 2 cents. Render, that's one. We haven't taken a look at Render in a while. And then I think I'll finish off with some macro analysis. Yeah, Render. All right, so we've seen this, guys, with the number of altcoins we've looked at today, have we not? Where all of a sudden we've gotten these big daily candles. So you want to see more of that, but Bitcoin being at its 50-week moving average, people hoping for a bottom. Magic Mather, you're welcome. I appreciate that. We have and my cat's feet are going off. We have these big candles, coming in out of nowhere. This is nothing as far as right now, okay? It's nice to see this, but we need more. We need more than this. And, again, don't get obsessed with buying the very, very absolute bottom. Look for some structure. Look for some support. Render, I don't think I've ever fibbed this one. I want to take this one low to high. And I, over time, I've unshaded my Fibonacci's, and it drives me crazy when they're shaded. It's kind of like when you finally make the switch from light mode to dark mode on your phone, and then it's light mode again, and it blinds the eyes. Very negative momentum on the MACD, okay? But I do like seeing it trend upwards. So as render, hopefully, if it gains support here at this 0.5 pullback at a $1.95 and starts to curl up, this area could be a nice bottom for render. So between $2 to $3, if that's an altcoin worth looking at. Any other altcoins before I get to macro analysis? Bonk. I know one of you is the Bonk father, as he calls himself. So if you watch this in replay, this is for you. You know who you are. That MACD sucks right there. We do have the 100-week moving average just appearing. Let's go to the daily. Daily overall, this momentum is very negative, but let's hopefully see it flip around. Yeah, not a lot that I like about this right now, to be honest. So bonk. I think if we go over to the daily here, yeah, I could see this one. I mean, this is why I tell you guys the 382, it is important. Once we broke this 382 support, look at this, just keeps getting smacked down by the 20. So if the 20 continues to smack it down, I mean, we do have this trend line of these lows. And so, if Bonk ever got down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros and an 834, right now it's at 4 zeros and 13.3, repeating, educated gamble, to catch a low or dead. So, how I would play this one, not telling you what to do, I would put dinner money on this one, right? $100 to $200 if it gets down here. And if it runs, great, I withdraw it. I can take my beautiful lady out to dinner, a dozen or 2 dozen times off that. That's how I treat some of these altcoins, these low cap, high risk ones. Again, if I buy it here, I am fully accepting responsibility for myself that I could just die and I never see that $100 again. All right, that's sort of how I look at some of these. Now, if it's an altcoin I really like, I might put in a bit more, like a Fetch. I really, really like Fetch, and did well. I was hoping to get some down here. I got some here, and that's fine, but I was hoping to get some here. But yeah, let's go over to macro analysis. Let's make a pivot. So again, talking about Bitcoin, this is daily. Let's go to the weekly. Bitcoin, again, our momentum is still very positive right now, or it's on the positive side. I want this move to finish. We could hold support, but last 2 times we've tested the 50, this has lasted about 5 weeks, right? And we tested the 50 again. So we only tested the 50 once at this local bottom. If we test it again, we might have a candle body closer to the 50-week moving average as well as the 1618, and we might get a wick down somewhere in the low mid 90Ks. I'm just telling you guys. So the daily here, yes, we have a green daily candle emerging, but I would not be surprised to see a 94K. Again, this is on the daily, 94K, and then boom, that be a local bottom. So I think we can still maintain the 50 while wicking down to some of these lower areas. I mean, look at this. The 50 was maintained, but we had that wick there to the 618, or the golden pocket there at 50K. I know all those 50K people who bought in right here had those buyers. They're happy. So yeah, I think this move, we have to finish this move, start to see positive momentum. Bitcoin dominance, this thing's positive. Now, overall, the momentum is very macro negative, okay? We were positive for a while. It's been macro negative, and I love how we crossed into negative territory. Now, we're going to get these rebound moves, and this is a rebound move. We're probably going to get bullish again, and who knows? We could see dominance get up to this level of 63%, 65%. Maybe it goes to 69%. Who knows? It could be. I'm not going to try to predict where it's going to be. I just want to see this move start to curl down, and once it starts curling down, then where's dominance? I think once we see indication that dominance is topping and coming down, I'm going to be very excited about where my altcoins are. My altcoins may have already bottomed. They might be putting in a bottom, but that's what I'm watching for dominance because, again, once dominance goes down macro wise, that is very good for altcoins. We've gone over this a number of times, for the last two alt seasons. We have not had alt season yet, guys. And, this was not alt season. This was not alt season. Alt season is when you're getting down here. Let's take a look at total three. Total three, I do like, we're in this ascending channel. Why have I not fixed this yet? We're in this ascending channel. And, I was saying, watch what total three does when it gets down to the 50 in the lower end of this channel, right? It's there now. And if we see dominance soon putting in a top and we see total three start curling up, that will be a very good thing. So keep an eye on total three and dominance. Again, we're going to close this out here in not too much time. Let's see. Ethereum, Bitcoin. I do like, this giant trend downward. And then we've just curled up. So hopefully the trend starts to take it or the momentum in the other way. And again, comparing this to last cycle, we had a move like this where look at this nice momentum. We got to the 0.25, came down to the 236, tested again, and boom, alt season. All right. Looks like we're doing something similar. Okay. Once we're getting above 0.25, it's really go time. All right. Now this is phase two. This is telling us Ethereum's market cap is growing against that of Bitcoin. And yes, sometimes Bitcoin's going to outperform, but macro wise, this is Ethereum season. All right. Large cap season. A lot of large caps and small caps, phase 3 and 4, we can lump them in. They do well once Bitcoin tops and it's too expensive to keep buying. So we've looked at this a lot. Guys, I got to say, I'm worried about this pump of Bitcoin dominance. I would not be surprised to see large caps come down here. I want to take a look at total 3 divided by Bitcoin. Let's take a look there. Yeah, I mean, all right. Speaking of momentum, look at this nice MACD trend. It tested positive territory, got rejected again. I'm looking at the MACD moving average. We just got through it. So even though we're getting this little bit of negative action, this is good this is good bullish divergence. Okay. I do like this. I'm sure the RSI is probably even showing bullish divergence. Let's fix this. I want to add my golden pocket. That's how you do that. And then let's turn this down. All right. So yeah, there's the there's the macro golden pocket. Total 3, total asset, market cap outside of Bitcoin and ETH. And then I wanted to look at RSI. I wanted to see if I'm pretty sure there's bullish divergence. Yep. Look at this nice ascending, higher lows, okay? Lower lows in the price, higher lows in the strength. Guys, I really like this. There's nothing to tell me alt season isn't coming. And you know what? You know what makes me really bullish? This is going to sound mean, but it's just fact. I'm not trying to be mean. I've seen this the last 2 cycles. Retail is dumb money. Let's be honest. Let's not kid ourselves. Even though we have all these charts and indicators, large money, they have AI algorithmic ways of looking at buying and selling that we never will. All right. They play us like a fiddle. And I think that's where the human component of patience and using emotions as an indicator, fear and greed, works to our advantage if you broaden your horizon. Not everyone is cut out to be a stock or crypto trader. I know I'm not. But taking a look at these charts, man, like we have this positive momentum. There's nothing to say that, we're not going to get a nice alt season. All right. So total 3 Bitcoin, it could have bottomed here. And if that momentum starts to pop off, we might see some big moves for that. Let's take a look at others. This is total market cap of everything outside the top 10 cryptos. MACD is negative right now. No two ways about that. Now, it has been negative for a while. Challenged it before, nah, rejected. But again, just take a look at this. What I like seeing here, can I draw a trend line? Show you guys what I'm looking at? Look at this. Okay? We're getting higher lows as far as that momentum goes. So, you can look at the MACD kind of like how you look at the RSI. I love the MACD, right? I think it does some of that RSI work for us. So even though it's bearish, I think we're getting bullish divergence. And this is our phase 4, our phase 4 part of the flow chart. Again, Bitcoin has to top for the cycle, or at least from the last 2 cycles. We did not get phase 3 and phase 4 until Bitcoin topped and had that Bitcoin dominance rotation. All right, so I would be taking a look at this. Case in point, last cycle, once it truly popped off, here was all season. Look at this MACD. Yes, we were warm before, and then we got flushed. 2020 sucked, as we all know. But then, boom, popped off. As far as Tether dominance, because Tether does such a good job showing us where the macro highs are for Bitcoin. This is on the weekly. I don't love seeing this. Everything I said about the MACD, look at this curl up. Don't love seeing that. All right. I am hoping for Tether dominance. Again, hope is not an indicator. But I am hoping for Tether dominance to come down to its 100-month moving average and this lower low trend line. Because Tether, now on the monthly, different story. We have these highs and now it's coming down. So, Tether could go up during the month of November. And again, 5.34% of all money in crypto is in Tether. What does that mean, you might ask? Well, Tether maintains a value of $1. And so if you don't want to lose your money in volatile crypto and you believe we're going to go down for the near term, you convert your money to Tether to retain your purchasing power, your Satoshis. Now, that's going to, I will say, you have to weigh the risk of paying taxes every time you sell. So, just be careful with that, depending where you live. But when Tether dominance drops, it is risk on. And let's get rid of the MACD because we're going to close this out. We'll put that on. Let's add on Bitcoin. We'll add on Bitcoin. You guys can see, I think the daily is going to be better. On the daily, oh my God, that's so much going on. You see the inverse relationship. When Tether dominance drops, Bitcoin rips. When Tether dominance rips, Bitcoin gets a pullback. Okay, remember, these are the areas where we hit the 50-week moving average. Tether dominance drops, Bitcoin rips. Bitcoin drops, Tether dominance came up. All right. Tether dominance drops, Bitcoin went up, 127K or whatever. Bitcoin went down, Tether dominance come up. And maybe it's coming back up to the 382 at around 5.9%. Okay. Tether dominance will drop again. Now you hope this isn't a macro move up. We're off log scale. You know what? I think I want to change that trend line. I'm seeing something different right now. Are you guys not seeing the same thing? I'm like, these lower highs, at least for these last 3 bottoms, seem to line up for Tether dominance. So where these bottoms were on the 50-week moving average for Bitcoin, oh my goodness. Let's go to the 50-week moving average. Okay. Weekly. 50-week moving average right here. Okay. You guys see that. Let's go back to Tether dominance. Those times we hit the 50-week moving average here. We've tagged this trend line. So I want to take a look at this micro trend line and hopefully, again, hope's not a strategy, but hopefully that's an indicator. You like how I just moved it there to make it even better? See, what do people call it on Twitter? Moving the goalposts? Whatever. It's close enough. Hopefully, this will show us a nice bottom. I don't know if you guys ever go on CoinGlass, just random aside. I found this one page and it said bull market peak indicators, where the hold or sell and, how much they've progressed or loaded up. And I'm like, okay, there's a rainbow chart, there's other indicators, pi cycle, and I'm waiting for these to be higher. All right, putting a nice bow on everything. Bitcoin, it's done good this year, but it's only up a total of 20%. All right, that's nice, good macro accumulation. Now the 4-year cyclists, they're going to say, you know what? You measure top to top, having the top. Those are saying that we are bearish, and maybe, but that is where I think I'm going to leave today's video. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Take care.